Okay. Anyone do anything interesting this last weekend?
I went to state for swimming.
Did you? Competition?
Yes, it is.
How'd you do?
I did pretty good. I'm like top 12.
No kidding. Top 12 making laps or diving or what?
Top 12 girls in the state.
No kidding. Awesome. Marcy's going to be gone for the next 2 weeks.
What?
3 weeks. Yes.
Oh, you just got back.
I
I know.
What's this called?
Tech Mad.
What is it called?
Ask my wife. She's the one that bought it. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean?
So,
I just don't
where?
At NSU.
You went to NSU last night? Huh. She went to NSU. Anyone been to NSU? Kind of nice place.
Wait,
huh?
what is it?
I went there yesterday.
We have foreign exchange students from
Really? Where are they from?
Korea.
South Korea? They better be.
Yeah, it's South Korea.
I wonder if
Not
North,
North Korea.
wonder
That's
if-
the only place.
I wonder if they have any knowledge about North Korea.
I don't know.
Do they speak English?
Yes.
Okay.
North Korea have knowledge of North Korea.
Both of your jellyfish shirts I have.
So, since Marcy will be gone for 3 weeks, this is why we video these classes partially, because she's going to be in the Cayman Islands and she'll be able to see our classes all the way from there. She just logs on to YouTube. You know she's going to miss us, I think. Yeah.
Watch them every single week.
Okay, here we go with the catechism. All right, here we go. You ready? All right. The heart of a man plans his way, the Lord establishes his steps. Proverbs 16:9. So I stayed one day with the professor's class, the Boethius class. That is a long thing to say. He does a catechism that's quite long.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Orderers is even longer.
Is it really?
It's 2 pages.
It's gonna be longer. It's 2 pages right now.
2 pages. See, I will tell you this. I'm going to shoot for 1 sentence in this class every time because I want you to memorize it. Memorizing is tough, especially if it's not a
One
song.
of the Bible verses you did, Dad, we memorized in Bible quizzing. And
Yep,
it was,
makes sense.
Luke 21, verse 15.
That's why I like the single sentence ones. And then we can move on to more fun stuff. Now, so last time we talked about William Wallace and his rebellion against the English. If you want to find out what happened to him, I'm going to keep this in the class. You guys can pass it around. A lot of nice pictures. I encourage you to read up on it. So there that is. Please get a World War I story booklet. That'd be great too. And here we go. Okay. All right. So put your mind in 1307 AD. Where do you go?
That was a good year.
It was a good year. I got a bottle of wine from that year. Where do you go?
2 Denny's.
So, a lot of you know what happened to them, but we're going to put up a map, and I'm going to give you some ideas of where they went. I went to the store, Ace Hardware. I love Ace Hardware. These lasers were $2 each.
What?
They're cat lasers, and I use them for class. Normally they're like $5-10 a piece on eBay. So I got like a bunch of them.
You should give them to me.
Well, I'm pretty sure they're still on sale, but yeah, they work great. I think they changed like shapes and stuff. I don't know, but so you're about to get arrested, and where do you go? Can you see that?
It's a little close.
Okay. Okay.
You
Focus
go
your
to
eyes.
Poland and then get.
Okay, right where this laser is where the Templar headquarters is. And all of your money, most of your men are there. So what's this little stream here? Not a stream, but a river.
A river.
Very good. That's the Sun River, yes. So from there, they have access to their fleet, which is off the coast of Brittany, which is right there. So the night before, you are planning to go somewhere at the edge of the world. Where are you going to go?
Either up to whatever, to Norway and Sweden, or you're gonna go across, or you can go up. It just be anything.
Okay, so at the time, we don't know about the New World over here, supposedly. So your fleet is right here. You're going to go to a place where the Pope can't get you. The Pope has supported the order to arrest you. So you got to go outside of Christendom at this point. Ooh, that's a tough call. So where are you going to go? You're going to go to the edge of the world. So follow my little guy here. I'm going to go right up here, hit a few islands.
The edge of the world.
The edge of the world, and you're gonna dock somewhere around here in Scotland. I'll tell you why in a minute. So half of your fleet's going there. And yeah, there is an Aberdeen right there. I've been there. It's nicer than our Aberdeen, I think. but there's a lot more commercialism in this Aberdeen. I'll say that. Anyway, the latter part of your fleet is gonna go all the way down here, and what's going on in Spain at this point? Anyone remember?
Columbus, but I don't think that's
Nope, this is too early for Columbus. He hasn't been born yet. What's going on in Spain right now in 1307? Anyone remember? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Right about here, the whole country is divided in half. The Moors have this, Spain and Portugal has this. And the Templar headquarters is right there on the border of Christendom. And you know what? If you're the King of Portugal, he wants you there. Why?
Money.
That, sure.
Non-protection.
An army. Because you're fighting the Moors at the time. So that is where you're going if you are a Templar fleet. But we'll go into one possible area they did go. We don't know for sure though. So, oh, wait a minute. Let me go back. That was the wrong one. There we go. So, places where the Pope can't find you. Places where his authority is not. Ooh. That sounds a little bit scary because where his authority is not, what is authority? Ships loaded with troops and treasure, horses, families packed to the brim. Can you imagine? Because if you're a Templar serving anywhere, you're going to probably have at least a squire and a few horses. But you're also going to have maybe family, extended family, all sorts of things that you need to take with you. Your life is about to be upended. And in order not to be hunted down, that's where you have to go. And I'll tell you why Scotland in a minute. Portugal we have explained, but I'll tell you why Scotland in a minute. There we go. Portugal's a natural seaport for just about anything. Come on, it's right on the sea. But they need fighters desperately right now, good ones, because the Moors are good fighters. And the Templars just happen to have an autonomous zone, basically a small country, right on the border of Portugal and the Moors, so they can just operate at will. Man. I would love this for my birthday, which is coming up in 3 weeks. So if anyone wants to get me that,
An airplane.
Happy early birthday.
that, a B-52 bomber, that would be a fine gift.
I'm pretty sure we could go to an antique store for that.
There's only a couple left in the whole world, and there was tens of thousands of these out made at one point. It blows my mind. There's only a couple left.
How much did they go for, do you think?
Oh gosh, I have no idea.
Maybe we could pool our money together.
Yeah,
Yeah, my $5.
Just save your quarters. Save your quarters. When it's funny, when the guys were training to be that machine gunner right there,
Oh.
when they were trained to do that, they actually had these things. They were supported independently on big feet, and they had motors and everything. And in these big bays in the military, they teach you how to use these. It was like one of those video games you get inside and it moves all over the place, but it was a ball. So you'd be sitting like this, and the machine gun's like that, and you're actually in a ball in a squad bay, and you're just moving it around and stuff, and that's how they taught you. None of those are left either. I would love to have one of those because, geez, you can get inside of it and go upside down and everything. Yeah. Ball turrets. It's a ball turret. It's a ball turret practice turret.
Didn't we have a picture of one that was,
This one, no, right here. That's a ball turret. They'd have that.
those were the most famous ones.
Yeah.
They would always, almost
Yeah.
all.
But what a ride, man. What a ride. Can you imagine?
We asked you
Yeah.
50 pounds.
If you are a ball turret gunner, chances are you are going to die. But what a ride, huh? What a ride. Wait a minute, that's not the right one. This is the right one. Okay, so the King of Portugal, guess what? He loved them. Please come over here. I would love to have you in my backyard. And you know what? I'll help you with the Pope later, but King Denise, King Denise loved the Templars and he welcomed them with open arms. They're right going to be on his border and fighting his enemy. Man, who wouldn't want the Templars in your backyard if you're fighting something, right?
Wow.
Makes sense. Anyone interested in Boys State, boys, young men, 11th, 12th graders? If you're interested, Legion will pay you to go. I'm actually going to be one of the counselors.
Oh,
Mhm. So if you want to go, I'll talk to you later.
what do you do?
11th, 12th graders teaches you, they put you in the NSU barracks for a little while with your counselors, and you learn how politics works and a couple other things. It's actually a lot of fun. Every class that goes through there has a riot. After about day 2, it's great. Day 1, day 2, maybe you're crying in your bed because you missed your mom. I don't know. But all right. So, yes.
My older sister did some girl state.
What'd she think?
I'm not sure. She was gone for a while.
'Cause there is a girls' state thing too. I don't know anything
Isn't
about
that
it.
like 17, 18?
It's juniors and seniors. Yep.
It's in Vermilion.
Yeah.
Hmm. Clement. You know, when you get to be Pope, you get to choose your name. That's
Yeah,
not his real
Clement-
name.
Clement's in the Bible.
Yes, it's not his real name. I don't remember his real name, but when you become Pope, you actually get to choose the name of some of your predecessors, and you just put a number after it. I'm not sure why that is, but maybe it's the Pope that you admired. Maybe you want his
It's just like
name. I don't know.
spiritual.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Show.
I'm not pushing.
So all former Templar lands, the Pope's like, go take them. And who wouldn't want that? So all the Christian kings take all the lands, except in a couple countries. Guess which two? Portugal and Scotland. If you have land in Portugal and Scotland, guess what? You're going to retain your lands. So yeah, those are the places you want to go if you have land there. But the Pope is encouraging everyone to take the land, but what actually happens is most of the land is given to these guys, which are basically like Templars, but they stay home more, and they help the poor more, I guess. The Knights Hospitallers, they have a black cross, not a red one. Makes you wonder. A lot of the Knights Templars just joined that order and changed their uniforms. That did happen.
It's a knockoff.
Kinda. But they were around too,
Walmart.
but they just had a slightly different focus.
T.U. Templars.
I'm convinced if I can make all of history a song, I could teach history to anyone. Like that Hamilton song. Oh my gosh. Heard that a few times.
All of them?
Yeah. My daughter knows a lot of history because of that play. You don't, or she don't?
Which one?
No.
Siri or
Siri.
me? Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, that's who or a different series?
Siri.
Siri.
Siri is my
I'm not
sister.
related to her.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm confused. Siri and Siri?
Yep, they said basically the same way. It's still
No.
confusing to me.
Siri.
Where did Surrey come from?
It's a Persian name or word for red rose.
Bread roast?
Red
Red
rose.
Red
Red rose.
red roast?
Red rose.
Like the flower.
Rose. Okay,
Red
sorry.
rose.
I heard red roast. Okay, red roast. So,
That's how I'm gonna remember your name.
so the King of Portugal hears this order from the Pope Clement, and says, you know what? Yeah, Pope, I'll do what you say, but he really doesn't. So he shielded his friends that are fighting the Moors, and he defies the Pope's order very quietly. Just long enough because, anyone need that up any longer? Just long enough because he's waiting until the guy dies, and he does.
Wait, I'll die any day now.
And when Clement dies, King of Portugal convinces the new pope to recognize, not what you think it is either, and neither it was to me when I read it. I had to read it a few times. There's a lot of instances I have to read a couple things a few times because I'm like, wait a minute, how does that make sense? But it made sense after. Seems like the lightness isn't doing as well, or the lightning here just is not nice. So, the King of Portugal says, hey, the King of Portugal says, hey, I want you to recognize this new order we're forming in the south of my country. We're going to call it the Order of Christ in 1319. And guess what the Order of Christ really is? It's the Templars that were already there. So the Templars that are there, he recognizes they're going to be hunted no matter what. Let's rebrand them. Maybe Temu, right? Isn't that what Temu does?
I mean,
You kind of just take ideas. I would tell you what, the Chinese are fantastic at copying literally everything. It is amazing the copies I've seen come out of China that are very convincing of stuff like coins. Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. Pokemon cards, oh yeah, they fake everything. It's amazing. Don't ever buy a coin online, especially a valuable one. 90% of the time it's fake and it came from China.
Unless you sell them, then you can buy them.
Well, you can buy them from me, but I won't. They're not fake. Yeah, you can trust me.
what is?
So the Templars are rebranded, and guess what? They get new tunics, new sails for their ships, and a new name, the Order of Christ. And here is their new cross, some art. That's their new cross. It's kind of lopsided.
Is that the World War I thing?
Close. The Knight's Hospitaller cross looks a lot similar to that, to World War II Messerschmitt German cross that is right there. That's probably what you're thinking. Yep. I would also accept a World War II German Messerschmitt too for a birthday present. It's right there. This plane right here. That plane. Yep.
Right there.
Yep, aim at the middle of this cross. And guess what? The old symbol for the Templars was that one.
Wow.
I know, it's not obvious at all that you just renamed the order and changed the cross.
No, it's so much prettier now. No one's gonna know.
Actually, I do like the new one. That's new and better. Who doesn't like new and better stuff? Upgraded, rebranded.
Level 2.
Yeah.
It's like Frozen 5000.
Yeah, jeez.
It's so nice out, even though it's 35 degrees. Makes me want to go run. Anybody run in here? I used to run. Not after your sisters or brothers. Run.
Try.
I can speed.
How many miles have you run?
Well, I don't do miles. I do
Sprint?
certain miles.
Anyone do miles? How many miles have you done?
5.
5? Hurts, doesn't it? Yeah. I don't miss doing all those miles. I used to be a runner, but my knees said no after a while. So now we're going to talk about Scotland. We're going to turn away from Portugal, and we're going to talk about Scotland and why it is the perfect place to hide at this time. If you needed to hide from just about anything, not just the old Pope, you can hide in Scotland, and I will tell you why. So the new king, his name is Robert the Bruce. This is after what happened with William Wallace. The new king, Robert the Bruce, seizes the throne in 1306. He had the best claim to the throne. But the very year before the Templars got caught, the year before, everybody hears this man just took the throne, and he needs friends, money, and fighters. Oh, he needs friends.
I need friends.
He needs friends, and I will tell you why.
Because he has one.
He's got a problem.
Oh, that's why he has no friends.
Oh, you will see. You will see. He's one of the most controversial people in history.
He's just misunderstood.
It's going to get real interesting real quick because he does something that is just horrible. He had the best claim to the throne in Scotland, and he just seizes the throne, but he had to make some damage on that on his way up. So he needs friends and fighters, and I will tell you why. Robert the Bruce, this guy, his rival to the throne, was praying in church Sunday morning. Robert the Bruce walks right up the aisle and stabs him in the back with him and his
Everyone
friends.
saw him.
Yes.
Like, this is our king. You just
No, he wasn't king yet. He had to murder his rival to the throne. So he goes up to the middle of the church with him and his buddies and stabs the heck out of this guy. And the guy survives.
Oh, dang.
So a day later, him and his friends come back and finish him off. It was awful. So this happens in church. What do you think is going to happen to this man besides maybe going to hell?
Excommunication.
Bam, there it is. So now you've got a king of Scotland who is excommunicated, which means your whole country is excommunicated with you. Anyone in here been excommunicated lately?
Lately, not lately.
Kind of.
I've considered. Excommunicated means you've gotten the boot. We want you out of our church. You cannot come back. The Pope is telling you basically you're going to hell, and we want nothing to do with you. In fact, everyone should have nothing to do with you. All of Europe should have nothing to do with you. You are outside God's grace. Ouch. So he murders his rival. His name was John Comyn. And believe it or not, the guy that was his rival used to own the castle that I would like to buy in Scotland. It's called
Grand
Castle
Castle?
Grant. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
He lived in that castle. His head's in the castle still.
I can go see it. It's like I can go see
So,
Peter's finger.
Castle Grant, which is in northern Scotland, was owned by John Comyn. He got himself murdered, and there is a room in this castle that's called the Skull Room. People say it's John Comyn's skull, the guy that Bruce murdered. No one's seen the skull in about 100 years, but they say it's there.
It's just in one of this.
Yeah, it's in the castle, in one of the rooms, shut up in a room.
I don't like that.
So we need to buy the castle.
Yeah, it is.
So we need to pull our money together, buy rings, like say,
You got to find out who it is.
And then I have St. Oliver Plunkett, whose head is in one of the churches in Ireland that has not decomposed.
Ooh, that's fun. She's got a relic. Was that a former relative? Former relative's relic of a head in a Catholic church in Ireland. Interesting. Wow, lots of heads lying around.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh, it's weird.
People on TikTok.
so 7 weeks later, after he murders this guy and gets excommunicated, he is crowned king. Everyone's like, okay, fine, we'll go with this guy, because they're scared to death of him probably. But like I said, him and his country now are in effect outside the church. We're damned. Great place for the Templars to escape to because the Pope can't get to you. And guess who needs friends in Scotland right now? And money and fighters? Robert the Bruce. Some of his friends have reasonably left him or are scared to death to do so. Yeah, he's a very controversial figure in history.
Should be Robert McGrew.
So the point is, what was that?
We're going to, if he killed his rival in a church of all places, I'd be scared to be around him too.
Yeah, I'm convinced he's half crazy, yes.
Does Bruce like mean something in Scottish?
I think it's a baron. I think that's what that means. Robert the Baron. I'm not sure. I think it's baron. But yeah, it's a title.
Like Baron
So you think he is crazy?
Yep. Yeah. What's that?
So you think he is crazy?
Oh yeah, I'm sure of it.
Is he still
Well,
alive?
he's got a nice tomb. He's got a nice statue, but the reality of the man, he was a ruthless killer. But he had the best claim to the throne of Scotland, and the people that were scared of him are mainly just nobles. The peasants didn't have much to fear because he needed them, at least at first. So the point is, many Templars flee to Scotland. They have some lands there. The Pope can't get them. But something else happens. More art? Yes. Where's the sun set? Rises in the east, sets in the west.
What?
So a large portion of this fleet, the last it was seen, was sailing west outside of Scotland. It was never seen again. So we've got Templars that escaped to Portugal, Templars that escaped to Scotland, Templars that became Knights Hospitallers. They just changed their tunics. And then some sailed away, never to be seen again. To the west, that's all we know. And it gets more interesting. So, Robert the Bruce has been king for 7 years now. And the Templars have settled on whatever lands they can manage to settle in Scotland. They are still outside the church. Whole of Scotland is damned, thank you, Robert the Bruce. But the English try to take Scotland again because they're sick of their northern neighbors causing problems. Yeah, it's a good song. I think I could have done better. 1314 AD. Bruce has been King of Scotland for 7 years. The Templars have well settled in. I'll tell you what happens at this battle. Okay. The Templars, the man who's in charge of them is Henry de St. Clair. Him and his friends operate out of this place, Ballintradock, which is just south of Edinburgh, which is the capital of Scotland. They come to the aid of Bruce in this battle. You know, some historians, they say there's no direct evidence of this actually happening, but I think all the evidence leads up to it. It's there. So you got a Scottish army that is never as prepared or as well armed or fed as the English army. You are wearing maybe leather armor. You're using an axe that you use to cut down trees, to chop heads. You don't have very good stuff to bring to the battle. Some people bring pole arms that were fashioned out of a plowshare. Can you imagine? You saw that axe that I brought in that one time. That thing wasn't made very well, but it did the job. So at this famous battle, in one way or another, they come to the aid of Bruce, and he needs the help. Needs the help because his army is basically ragtag, beat down. And you need professional soldiers to help you. I'll keep that up for a second. Anyone come to the hobby show this last weekend? I saw a couple. Yep, those who came saw my cannon. Hmm. I didn't fire it.
Heard you some of your cannonballs.
Hmm. The first, when we open the doors, some guy comes in. I'll take that. Sold a cannonball to him right off.
How much did you get for cannon?
200. Should have been 3,
I was
but
gonna say, wasn't it
$200.
like 400 at one point?
Yep, for that one, yeah.
Did you say you were gonna sell the cannon for like $1 million?
Yeah, that's what I tell people. They always ask, like, how much do you want for it? I'm like, $1 million. That's the price I don't want to sell it for. I'll sell it for that, but I don't want to sell it. Can't. That's what that means. So yeah, so if I get $1 million, oh yeah, geez, you'll get everything.
Then
Keep it so
you
when
can
you
buy
buy your
another
castle, then you can shoot out your castle.
That's probably an awesome idea.
Well, if you sold it, then you
You
could
did
buy
think-
the castle.
They had a lot of nice things.
I know, I saw you like searching.
So I am
I'm
considering shooting that cannon off, some blanks out of it. Maybe we can do like a homeschool day at some field somewhere so people don't get hurt. I don't
I
know.
could be the test subject.
Yeah.
Shoot me. Just aim it right.
Anyway, I would love to do that one day. We'll see if it happens. Anyone need this up any longer? Okay. So this battle in 1314 was a 3-day skirmish. What's a skirmish?
It's like
I don't know,
a
you
squabble.
tell me.
It's like a squabble.
Yeah, little squabbles. Yeah. You're going to have bands of men going out by, maybe 50s, maybe hundreds, poking around at the enemy's side, causing damage and running back home. And the other side's doing the same thing. They raid one side and run back. Raid the other side and run back. There's not a set battlefield until the very second or third day. But the Scottish couldn't line up and directly face the English because they were so well armed. So they were reduced to just skirmish tactics. It wasn't looking good. But at the final day, they were actually forced into a fight. Well, somehow, some way, this ragtag force scared off a much better equipped English army. No one knows exactly how they did it, but all of a sudden, a huge mounted force of cavalry routs a better supplied, better trained, and better armed English army on the third day, or was this evening of the second day? I can't remember.
Wait, so who's English?
So, yeah, the English army runs away and gets slaughtered the whole way. Scottish independence is sealed, finally, after all these years. Everyone's sick of the war. Robert the Bruce leads the charge with one of his guys. His name is Henry de St. Clair, hint, hint. And they say that there was no Templars at this battle. We know Henry St. Clair and his friends were at the battle, and he was in charge of the Templars at the time. Historians need better boots, not better books. So in history, officially, there is no mention of any Templar force at this battle, but somehow some huge, awful force came and scared away the better trained English. How does that happen? Take a guess. And I will formally say, yeah, historians say there's no evidence of Templars being there. But I believe they were. But whatever the case is, Scottish independence is finally sealed. What William Wallace really started is finally ended, and it ended, thank God, with this battlefield. And Robert the Bruce survived it and is still king. We're still here. We beat the English again. We did it. All of a sudden, all the European nations that are France, Germany, Austria, whoever, all of a sudden they're starting to look at Scotland as an independent nation. Maybe they should be Maybe they ought to be considered independent now. They just beat the English. Big battlefield. Maybe we should take their king seriously.
Refuses to lose.
Maybe the Pope should say, hey, maybe you're not kicked out of the church now.
Maybe you're not.
That doesn't happen for a little while. But yeah, that eventually happens. Let's talk about treasure.
Oh, okay.
Does anyone not want to find treasure someday? I mean, wouldn't that be amazing? In the news about 5 years ago, someone was walking through their backyard, hit their foot on something at the base of a tree, looked down, there was 2 coffee tins this big full of gold coins. Yes.
Was in Oak Island.
No, it wasn't Oak Island. Nope.
Where was
that
that?
I can't. I wish I could remember. I should have brought that article. But yeah, two tins of gold coins that were sticking out of the ground somehow at the base of a tree.
What do you do with them?
Oh, he became a millionaire. You know, in some states, you're not even allowed to keep anything you find in the ground, like New York.
Did you find something in our backyard in New York?
Baby steps to
Hmm?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
No, okay, it was
That
someone
guy's
else.
crazy.
You gotta find gold on international waters or else
Mr.
the country's
Grant.
gonna fail.
I actually found like a chisel, like the tool. It was completely rusted over, right next to our church. It was like on the side of the building, like I think it was in the ground a little bit, and I took it out, and it was,
Does it have a wood handle?
I can't remember.
If it does, it's really old. Interesting. I like to see that. When I was my garage is like going like this, like the Tower of Pisa, because it's from 1880. Well, I was trying to righten it up so it wouldn't fall down. I was jacking up the structure with jacks, and I found 2 guns underneath it.
What? Like,
I'm not joking.
how old? Civil War?
From the 50s at least,
Wow.
maybe from the 40s. One of them was this big, and it was a Dick Tracy gun from some kid had it. The other gun, I cannot, it's so rusted over, I can't tell if it was actually a gun or a cap gun yet, but they're both metal.
Oh,
So I threw it, how you get the rust off of metal, what you do is you put vinegar and water together, like 1 cup of vinegar, a gallon of water, throw it in there for a couple of weeks. Do that, change it, change it for a couple of weeks, then you throw it in oil, and the oil gets to it and the rust falls off. It's in oil right now. So whenever they're actually done, I'll bring one in.
that's
Not the, if they actually are guns, then I'm not gonna bring it in. But the Dick Tracy gun, I'll bring that in. Yeah, there was other stuff in there too, but I ain't gonna talk about it. Okay.
Any serial numbers?
No, I couldn't, no, not in the rust, but I'm sure there might be something there. So,
Scratched off.
yeah.
Ghost guys.
It's actually the oldest standing structure in town, my garage. It was a horse carriage house.
Oh, that's fun.
And when I jacked the structure up, you wouldn't believe the smell of horse poop that hit me. I didn't expect that. I mean, it was, the structure was coming out of the ground. When it hit about 7 inches above, it felt like a horse just dumped it all over the place. It just smelled so bad. So, but yeah, that's what happened.
Why weren't you writing that whole time?
Yeah, no kidding. You're too interested in the topic, that's why. So, a couple of years, maybe about 100 years after, they built a very special place called Rosslyn Castle. Actually, Rosslyn Castle was there at the time. But the Knights Templar Castle was already there. Rosslyn Castle was there, but was rebuilt a few years after Bannockburn. And people have always said there is something underneath that castle. There have been talk about sealed vaults beneath it for ever since Templars came back. People think there's something down there beneath this castle. The castle's still there. It's really beat up, but it's still there. People say there's something down there. We don't know for sure, but it's been a rumor for hundreds of years.
Wow, people look.
I know, doesn't it drive you crazy?
I want some treasure.
So here, and these barons, these Templars become very high Scottish nobles in society. They're right there, just outside of the Scottish capital, and they are the highest ranking folks in society all of a sudden. Might have something to do with the fact they helped Robert the Bruce when he needed it the most, but I don't know anything. No. So all of a sudden, they're the highest ranking Scottish families, the St. Clairs, and they have an impressive little army. All of a sudden, they have all this because they helped out the king, and the king holds them in high esteem, and they're allowed to operate there. Now, this is just the castle. They had a bunch of land there. They had a town. It's a large piece of property, and it's still there. The castle's still there. And something else they built, which is very special. Anyone else need that up longer? Okay. Here's where the treasure gets a little interesting. Because this one, we know there's something down there. We've actually scanned the ground. Now, if anyone goes and digs something up in Scotland, I don't know you, because you will get arrested. They do not let you dig in Scotland near old buildings. If you get caught, you have to do it at night. But don't get caught.
You should take a field trip to go do that.
Let's take a field trip. If I was going to dig, that would be there.
Okay, there you go. I'll write that down.
Murder is not less legal at night time.
What?
I told him that murder is no less legal at night.
It isn't? What?
It's only illegal if you're seen.
Oh.
What?
More safe for me.
No, it's
Yeah.
only illegal if you get caught and you correctly.
So they build this beautiful, tiny little church. It's smaller than most churches in Aberdeen. It's not very big. But on this same property, close to that castle, they built this very special church. And the ground has been scanned beneath this church. There is a very large cavity underneath it, and no one knows how to access it. That is true. That is true. That is true. That has been scanned, and Scotland is not letting anyone dig it up.
Why is the spelling changed?
I don't know.
Roslyn.
Yeah, I don't know. But those were different
It's
spellings.
prettier this way.
It is prettier that way, I think. Roslyn. It's a great way to name a girl, not Ross.
Bob's.
Yeah, so think about Roslyn. That was horrible. Sorry. That was a dad attempt at something. Okay. So, what we're seeing in Roslyn Chapel is the beginning of what the modern Masons are, the Freemasons. Now, the Templars, they changed their name. All of a sudden, we're calling them Freemasons. And they build this lovely little chapel that is full of interesting things. I will encourage you to look up Roslyn Chapel, Scotland. It is unreal what's in this tiny little church. It's 35 feet long, 60 feet wide. 35 feet long, 60-foot wide church. Tiny little church. But it has incredible features inside of it. I've never seen anything like it. I've never been there. I've only seen pictures. I want to go there. So, here's what's in it. We're going to hide our Templar roots by making all sorts of depictions, stone carvings inside. Hundreds of stone carvings in a 35-foot by 60-foot chapel. All over it. Beautiful carvings. This church took a long time to build, about 40 years, and someone was carved.
Church, one that's really, really pointy.
It is pointy. It's a Gothic-style church.
Yes, I think I know what
It
you're talking
is.
about.
It is. So, you're going to see the beginning story of Freemasonry. The reason I talk about Freemasonry is because this is what modern Freemasonry is founded on. It's not just the Templars, but what happened to them and how they had to blend into society to survive. Flee to Scotland, help Robert the Bruce, change their name, and now we're Freemasons. And we're going to tell you a symbolic story of what happened to us by this church. It really is an amazing place. And one day I'm going to see it. I've been to Scotland twice and I haven't seen it. It's full of Masonic symbology. What's Masonic symbology? What's a good example? It's probably in your wallet right now.
The pyramid effect.
That's one of them. Our country was founded on a lot of Masonic secret society activity because we needed to be secret to get around the English to beat them to become Americans. This is all founded right here. You can just see it all in Rosslyn Chapel. Images of swords, towers, trowels, compasses, squares, trowels they dig in the dirt, chisels,
Ones you dig for worms with.
images of Solomon's temple, and corncob carvings.
Corn palace.
No, I'm sure there was no corn palace at Rosslyn Chapel. Anyone notice anything unusual about what I just said?
Isn't corn South American?
Say it again.
Isn't corn South American?
So this structure was built between 1440 and 1480. Corn is not indigenous to Europe, people. There's no corn in Europe right now. No one knows that corn is supposed to exist right now. Columbus sailed the blue in 1490. So where the heck are they getting the idea that corn even exists? Could it have
Some of the
something?
stories they heard from their grandfather.
Could it have something to do with that fleet that disappeared west?
There's like there was probably a land bridge between Russia and Alaska at some point because there's a tiny island there and it is super close together. There probably could have been like a land bridge there, and they probably could have been the Russians probably could have gotten to America and brought come back over or something to that extent.
In the ancient days, thousands of years ago, there used to be a land bridge from Alaska to Russia, and there was a natives did walk across. That was a theory how they
You
got
probably
here.
could also boat across there, so they probably.
Oh, yeah, it's very shallow to this
You can
day.
actually walk across it in winter across the ice.
Sure, absolutely. And that's the theory how natives got to North America, but corn's not supposed to exist at this point. How do they know about it? It has something to do with that disappearing fleet. So we know that fleet must have gone to America somewhere and never came back. I don't know, but they know about corn when they shouldn't be at this point. Yes.
Okay, if the fleet left west and then never came back, that doesn't really prove the theory that there's corn in Masonic or in, like this church. Because if they never came back, they couldn't tell them about the corn.
Yeah, someone came back. That's true. Someone must have came back because how would they know? There's corncob carvings in the church from this time.
Just explain, like, what if there was a language like the Russians weren't like
The land bridge is thousands of years before.
Lambridge is far away from Scotland. So, I mean, corn, as far as I know, doesn't exist. No one knows what it is at this point. Not in Great Britain, not in Europe. Doesn't exist. It's just an American phenomenon. So, corn, cobs. Yep. So, the fleet disappears. Somehow knowledge is gotten from the Americas before Columbus was supposedly did it. And we don't know exactly what happened to the fleet, but there's some theories. It's called Oak Island. There's one of them. If you want to look up Oak Island and that story, it's a TV series. Some people think they went to Oak Island. Yes.
when Columbus went to America, didn't they know what corn was?
No.
Are you sure? Because I feel like they talked about, oh, it's corn. Like we found this now. Or was that may have been.
As far as I know, I don't. I could be wrong, but I know corn didn't exist in Europe until it was brought over. So, but yes, as far as I know, seriously, if you can prove me different, tell me, because it would change how I think. That's good.
In a different class, didn't you say something about a building that was like, it was so muddy that like you couldn't get it down into there, but they hold like a golden chain?
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Yeah, Oak Island, the Oak Island mystery that's in Canada. It's in Newfoundland, Canada, close to where the Vikings settled in 1000 AD. They settled way up there in Canada. Oak Island is supposedly one of the theories of what happened to this treasure. And they did pull some gold out of it. They tested it. It was extremely old. But that's all they ever found.
So what's the name of the place where they?
Oak Island's called the Money Pit.
Like,
The Oak Island Money Pit. And
Well,
I've
they've
actually got a
ruined
couple
that
books
place.
on it, and I can bring one in. They're
They
fascinating
have
books.
Ruined Oak Island. It is the worst looking thing ever.
People think the fleet showed up at this island, dug an elaborate hole to put the treasure in, and then took off. There's a lot of evidence that the Templars did do that. We don't know. But in the 70s, I think it was 70s, they actually just punched a bunch of drills in this pit, and they pulled up a little bit of chain that came off, a gold chain that came off the drill bit. They still have this chain, and they tested it. It's from like 1400, 1300 prior. So
Those same
How do
guys
we
are
know,
still at it.
though, whether those are accurate? Because there have been other testings that are like this many million years ago and
Or it's 3 years ago.
see, this thing will not be proved until something is brought up that proves it. I will say this, they did find a very faint image of a shield on a rock on this island, and it had the Sinclair shield, Henry Sinclair's shield. Very faint, they didn't see it at first, but when they actually scrubbed it, it has a shield of Henry Sinclair, the guy that helped Robert the Bruce in 1314. So if you want to read two fascinating things, read about Rosslyn Chapel and look up the pictures, Scotland, and Oak Island, Canada. There's a whole series on it. I wouldn't recommend watching the show because it's endless and they keep finding nothing, and you'll die on that couch. But the idea of what happened is fascinating. So that's optional homework. Anyone have questions for me? And if you can prove to me that
I am
corn,
researching corn.
yes,
I remember.
actual corn cob corn, if it existed anywhere else, I would like to know.
Did they have like cobs of corn or like cards?
No, corn cob stalks.
So like stalks.
No, they were clearly corn. Yeah, it looks like corn.
It wasn't like a corn cob they carved.
Yeah,
Like
it
a
is.
corn cob pipe. It was stone.
Yeah, it's made out of stone from the time. Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
And if you want to go, just come out. Okay.
Have a nice weekend.
Take your time.
Does anyone want this ranch?